All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday, August 28th. I don't know. I came back from New York. I'm back here in Florida, and the gerbil's still stuck in the webcam here. I don't know what to do. No, I'm teasing, of course. But I wanted to save you the pressure of seeing my ugly mug on social media, YouTube, Facebook Live, etc., etc. Great to see all of our students, though, back inside our live trading room. Thomas Roberto, who just nailed it before on one of the trades here. Just we'll go over in a bit. Roberto, that's got to be one of your largest trades by percent, though, right? I mean, maybe not money wise. We'll talk about the shares, whatever, but just by percentage, you just nailed it on that SOGP, top percent gainer here at least. So, folks, just give me a quick chat back to begin. Let me know if you got me here loud and clear. Thomas on another stock, also on OPAD. I think Kevin nailed it on that one also. You got Lynn and Randy, you got Wiz here, all of our students and members alike. So, that said, again, if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, YouTube, blah, 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 down below, lower left, right below my avatar, I guess. But at Cyber Trading You, just feel free to hit the follow or subscribe button down below, just so you know when we're going live, when we're not each and every week, Monday to Friday. But yeah, I mean, heading into the afternoon now, I was just looking at the open trade. It wasn't really a great move from the morning. I figured it's got some big selling pressure still. It had a nice pop to start, of course, and well, it pulled back pretty steadily. I mean, just to back it down as much as it popped. So that's where earlier I wasn't a big fan of it. It's still up 6%. Don't get me wrong. It's like on the gainers list today. That's where you're going to find it. But maybe for the afternoon, if this wants to turn into a better trade, you need time. And it might not be today. It might be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, who knows, right? Like, we're not going to keep waiting on this one trade. We got a whole litany of other stocks we'll look to go through in just a bit. Would I see myself putting this on our watch list by the end of this meeting? Well, if it pops, yeah. If it breaks over this 430-ish area, really 427 was the opening print. But 430, 427, this combined area, we'll see where it goes. But I'll tell you what, the better trade today, I mean, really all throughout the morning into right now, literally right now, OPAD. SOGP, pardon me, SOGP here is Sound Group American Depository. So, big round of applause to Roberto. He just nailed it on this trade here. He made like $3.75 a share. From what did you say before, Roberto? We were discussing private chat. He was talking to me before he posted that message to you all right there. Roberto, if you don't mind, I'll just kind of like repeat kind of our chat really, because it's just quick and simple. He messaged me at 2:09 just earlier today, 2:09 Eastern, about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago. He's like, Josh, I don't know what to do. I'm in this SOGP trade at $10.05. Do you have any comments? And it was pretty much right here, right? I mean, it was like by the time it was popping once more here. So listen, it's up a lot already. And I told him at first, listen, it might even get halted again to the upside. It might get halted even once more going up. And that would be beautiful. Just hang in if you're able to. But you're up so much on that trade. Just, if it breaks below that price, if it gets halted to the downside, and that could very well spell game over. So he actually got out by the time it had reopened here. Got out at like 1380, just killed it. So listen, we didn't know it was going to come back up one more time. We didn't think that it would. It's up 263% now. It was up as much as that here. So not every stock makes a 260 or 270% pop. Figure if it's going to get halted to the downside like it did here just before, well, it's probably going to keep dropping. It actually defied odds, right? Pretty unexpected. Came back up one more time. Is this going to break higher? Is this going to try and make one last push for us now? The only thing I'll tell you here with this chart, you do have levels. If you want to like squint your eyes, pull your hair out, force a level out there, I'm sure you'll find one. But this has just been on a constant downtrend. Even these wicks don't align perfectly. So, there's some resistance back from the beginning of 23 into the mid of 23, but you can't really force a price there. It's just a rounded, generalized top. Now, at this point, I would just have you focus on $5 price levels, like Roberto. Roberto, how long have you been with CTU? Let me just ask you a couple questions, if you don't mind, Roberto. Because I always like to shout out some students. You'll see me mention a couple names here and there. I like to mix it up when I can. How long have you been with CTU, Roberto? You joined us. You jumped in right away. You went through the gold course, phase 1, 2, 3. You did your coaching immediately. I'm gonna guess since like May. Probably, May time, maybe even April, 4 or 5 months. Yeah, pretty much, right? So, just goes to show it's going to take a little amount of time, folks. You got to give it a month or two, right? But they're typically around 4 months, 3, 4, 5, and not everyone's going to be at the same pace. It's not a race. The only race that you're competing in is the one against yourself. So it's just to say that here, Roberto's been doing really well since he had joined us just about 4 or 5 months ago. But yeah, heading into the afternoon now, I'm going to tell you, focus on your $5 and $10 prices. Roberto got in right over 10, paid off handsomely for him. Your next $5 incremental level from there is at basically 15, right? So see if this makes one last pop up to 15, and we'll go from that point. But yeah, SOGP, easily going to put this on our list number one. And then we'll keep going through here. Now, I'll tell you what, also, OPAD's doing just as good, a little choppy throughout the afternoon thus far, but at least volatile enough where it has good dips, good balances, higher lows. It does have a pretty good order book, right? Yeah, and decent enough for right now. For as much as this moved up already, it's going to thin out a little bit from earlier, but it's still very tradable. Just more category 3 to 4 stock, I would say. SOGP's a 5. OPAD's probably even a 4 I would lean towards, but both are on our watch list for right now. Now, CWD, there we go. How to get my pre-market charting here back up. CWD was a nice move in pre-market here early on, pop from basically 2. I think you could say for like 170, whatever. But remember, no one buys the first candle because it could easily just dump right back down. You ever trade earnings? Most stocks will make a quick pop, then pull back right back down again. So that's just where here it ended up consolidating even after around 220s, 240s, then broke higher, then made a beautiful move from that point until the open. Dropped right back down afterwards once the market open hit. We're done with it now. All right, let me actually weed this out now at this point, because as we go through our percent gainers and losers list right now, I'm just going to put a number in here, but just kind of jack up the volume a bit, weed out all the low volume stuff. AQB, this was a dud. I was hoping to see so much more out of this on the rebreak over 150. It was testing it early on just before the market was opening here, or as the market was opening up here. But even heading into 11 o'clock, it popped, dropped. Right here was where I jumped in. I jumped in right over 150, ended up taking a 4 cent or a 5 cent loss on it, pulled back towards 145. But, ended up dropping back much lower after. If it's not going to make that big move in your direction, I guarantee you it's going to make a big move in your not direction. So, yeah, I mean, it's not worth holding on to, right? Point being, move on to greener pastures, move on to the SOGP trade, move on to the OPAD trade, move on to Griffin Digital Mining, GRIP. Why not, right? I mean, pushing up nicely across the afternoon so far. Better to see this now than never. And certainly even now than just before, because we're heading into the next best time of the day to be trading. So have a stock near at the highs. That's perfect. Why not? GBR, CGC. Ooh, CGC doing pretty good here today also. Is Tilray doing just as nice? Nope. Is Aurora doing just as nice? I maybe actually. This is up 7%. So maybe not up 27%, but this is doing pretty good here. Good order book. It's tradable. It's going up. So it doesn't hurt for us to put this on our watch list by any stretch of the measure here. So it looks like this also is a nice gap fill up towards just about 588, 590. It's at 574 here. Listen, it's not going to net you like giant profit, but it sounds pretty reasonable to see this fill the gap, right? That's just a simple game plan. So I wouldn't mind adding CGC, and I wouldn't mind adding the ACB. Just don't mix up your alphabet there. And I mean that when I say it, because no one has dyslexia any further than Fausto and myself here collectively. So it's so funny. I used to like rag on Fausto early on, like when I was like with him, like years like 1 through 6. And now I'm on year 11. It's like I got it just as bad as him. So THAR, this thing popped, this thing dropped, it's over. MOBX, LTRX. This one's not so bad here. LTRX. Decent book, a little slow. So it is where we want to see it, right? Right near the highs. Tradable. I wouldn't mind putting that on our list at least, going into the end of the meeting here. But the snowflake trade, this thing is a beaut here today, right? So, broke over resistance at 240. Just as like a funny joke here, like Fausto is the first one to say it. We don't put personal bias into our trades. I don't care what side of the field you're on, whatever you're doing. just money's money. Disaster creates opportunity, politics creates opportunity, policy creates opportunity. Can you imagine there's like actually like people out there like hardcore, like well, like whether you want to call them MAGA or hardcore conservative Republicans, can you imagine there's probably people out there like, I don't want to trade Snowflake. The name Snowflake. I don't want to trade a stock called Snowflake. This thing is up 23%, made the easiest double or triple top breakout I've ever seen. Money is money, my friends. So yeah, this thing we're going to put right back on our list here heading into the afternoon. A little expensive. That's the only gripe we got on the trade. I mean, it is pretty damn expensive. Maybe it was too expensive at one point in time because this thing looks like it IPO'd, went up to 400, then crashed down to almost sub 100. But it is pushing back up to break multi-year highs, or 52 week highs, we'll say, and over 52. But you know what I mean. Right around here, back from February of 24. 238, 239, kind of, smashed above that earlier today. Even on a pullback, perhaps that could be support over time heading into tomorrow, Friday. Tomorrow is Friday. All right, let's keep going down our list here, though. Otherwise, we got a good watch list so far. The ALTS trade here, Alt 5 Sigma Corp. Interesting long-term graph here. But I'd probably even say even more interesting of a intraday graph. So I wouldn't mind adding the alts trade also here. Up, UP, going back up right now. This thing has just been a little chaotic, a little messy of a trade. I feel like we're going to find easier trades even than that. Not to say it is like, too thin. This thing actually has a bunch of liquidity on the book. Big iceberg at 350. We're talking about the up trade still. Just yesterday, this thing, when it should have moved, it was just a mess. And the book map wasn't as easy to read. So we'll come back to it if we want to. Roberto, you and your Rigetti trade once again. I mean, you killed it on this one also. Yeah, I mean, I could see myself adding Rigetti. I could see myself adding even the Ondish trade from, just last week, the week before last, and so forth. But I got a pretty damn big watch list here all of a sudden. So we don't need to add every stock under the sun. Upstart's up 7%. That's not a terrible look. This actually does look terrible. So this STSS will definitely pass on. BE, choppy chart. I know it's at the highs, but we'll pass on that. Nuclear, OKL lows going back on up here pretty, you could say steadily with a higher low. Built support pretty well off this dip point here, 76.75, but we've seen it trade even better. SNDL is another pot stock. This one's up as much as one of the others we have on our list. We don't need to add all of them. We got those two so far, CGC, ACB. MSOS is an ETF just to round up all of those pot stocks grouped up together. But again, we don't need to put all of those on our list. Now I'm going from down to up here, actually, on this gainer side. How about that? But yeah, I mean, if there's anything else that you see, folks, just let me know in the chat board. Chuck, Kathleen, Barbara, Roseanne, got Steve here, Michael, Lynn, and Randy. Grant, all of our students just joining us right now. Ooh, I guess gold mining taking a dip here today, Grant. Whether it's just this one stock or the whole sector, let's find out. NUGT is it's actually barely down. It's like 0.17% negative. So this HMY ticker, gold mining, Harmony, maybe they just reported bad earnings, but you know what? This thing's down so much and it's at the lows. This is a good short for the time being. And if it fails to break much lower, then you could look for a potential squeeze back up. Nice little, reversal, good buying opportunity. Looking at the long-term chart. Yeah, very healthy long-term graph. So I wouldn't be too bearish on this company. It looks like it has some good support from these wicks back from the beginning of this year, 1250-ish. So as a day trade, short it down at 1250. As a long-term, try and see if you can get the squeeze up off at 1250 afterwards. I don't mind it. Not a bad look here either way. Harmony. How we find these trades, folks. So kind of just think about it on both sides there. Short, but then also look long term. Is it a healthy chart or not? That actually was a pretty healthy long term graph. TRVI, this is also weak here today, so that's where we'll take a look at the long term graph. It's also kind of healthy if you're looking at the higher lows, just very rugged, real rugged. Geez, I don't know what this company does, who they are, what they're about, but Don't need to know. And this thing's just holding support pretty well, right around 720, 707 here for the most part. Back from like July to now. This was actually cleaner resistance too. So, is this going to keep dropping that much lower? Maybe we'll come back to this one tomorrow. Maybe we'll come back to this trade TRVI tomorrow. If this really looks to come back down towards 7 here, then we could see if we could short it. But that might take some time there. We're actually below 5% now at this point. So, folks, let me know if anything else looks good on the way up, on the way down. We actually got a pretty decent list altogether. A couple good trades to work with on both sides of the coin. Leda, as always, you can't see me today, but I could at least see you on YouTube. Great to have you joining us, not just inside our live trading room, but also simulcasting there. I don't know what happens. The gerbils keep getting stuck in the webcams, Leda. I'll be back to my full setup at least on Tuesday, because we're off on Monday, right? We're off on Monday. We'll be back tomorrow here at least, right? You look at CWD from the morning. Well, yeah, from the morning session, it crashed, and then it just kind of stalled out a little bit here. I'm not too interested in this just yet. We want stocks that are like very close to the regular session highs, something I covered just a little bit there in the classes. All right, let's see. Just check out Benzinga Pro. No need to build up the list too big when you got this thing still freaking around. SOGP around 1350s, possibly popping up even higher up to 15. Palantir maybe not having a bad day. Rocket Lab maybe not having a bad day. We'll take a look at some of those there, wrap up. Yeah, Palantir still has some work to do. This thing has a lot of work to do to get back up towards 170s. And, what I mean by that is probably time, unless if they have some earth-shattering news coming out all of a sudden out of thin air. It's just to say that it's probably going to take time for that giant drop to wear off. Look at Reddit, RDDT, having a little bit better of a comeback up here today, up 7%. Roseanne, you're probably doing pretty well on that one. MRVL, not bad, not terrible. I'm not going to put any of these on our main list so far, but all having decent days. Rocket Lab, one of the healthier charts to look at overall, so something like this you can keep in mind for potential retesting of all-time highs. And AV goes up a little bit here today. You got a lot of main brand, large cap stocks doing well so far. And DJT, not so much there. We'll pass on that. All right, let me hop over towards the smaller cap stocks here at least, see if there's anything else looking just as good that's like popping here pretty nice. BW. It's up 10% right now. In hindsight, a great swing trade. We haven't even looked at this thing probably since early June. I'm going to hold off on it right now. No need. I want something that's going to wow me, folks. Something that's going to make me say, well, that's easy to put on our watch list. And if there really isn't much else, then we've done our job. We've done our job just fine. So, you know what? Let me post and tweet our watch list right now to all of our students and members here first. So let me just do this right now. There you go. Oh, keeping an eye on Wolf. Oh, earnings later. Okay, so maybe for tomorrow, Leda. Maybe for tomorrow, it's like moving up a little bit now. And if you've like got a swing position on it already, I'm rooting you on. If it pops well into tonight, right away I'll be looking at Wolf like first thing tomorrow morning. So good reminder on that. We'll post our earnings list going into the market close later on this afternoon. But for all of our students and members alike right now, I just posted the alert. I'll post the list right there in the chat. And if you're on the YouTubes, how about this? I don't always do this, but I'll post the watch list right here for you early. So there we go. There's our afternoon watch list. Now, if you wanted to continue the audio commentary, the audio broadcast going into the market close, a couple of different options. You can go right down to the link scrolling down on the bottom below, right below my ugly avatar mug right there. But no, seriously, ctu.co/trial, right down below on that blue banner. And, hey, join us for a week-long trial to our membership, to our trading room. Get exclusive access to our, trading room, our webinars, our podcasts, and of course our commentary. We'll be resuming, coming back up in about 15 minutes, going into the closing bell. All right, but otherwise, if you wanted to join us for our next live webinar, just scan that QR code on the corner left up top, just on the top left of my screen there with your phone, with your camera. Just for our next Thursday, we'll be doing our next live event, at least there. I know Fausto just finished one up earlier today. But, either way, folks, we look forward to having you just joining us in our next presentations. But, for all of our students and members right now in our room, just give me a quick sec here. We'll catch our breath, and then we'll be back on just going into the market close shortly after 3 o'clock. Take care.